Thank you. I really needed you to stand because I can't climb those steps very well. So thank you, so it wasn't so noticeable. It's like my nails. They're just some things you have to have. Mitchell, congratulations to you. You deserve this, and for the work you do, God bless you. 20 years ago at the Trinity Institute, and I'm speaking of Trinity Wall Street, one of the most prestigious churches in the Episcopal Church, at an annual symposium they have. This one was entitled Theology and Imagination. The featured speaker that year in January 1992, the Reverend Dr. Walter Brueggemann, professor of the Hebrew Scriptures and a noted biblical scholar, stood before those of us who had gathered there, and this is what he said amongst many other things. This is 20 years ago. The controversy over homosexuality was a smokescreen. The real issue, the real controversy, was the breakdown of the straight white male hegemony. You can imagine, as a female person, not a bishop at the time, but a priest sitting there, that hit me just like that. And tonight, we're honoring a man, a straight, white, Southern Baptist man who has helped to go through that smokescreen and to break down that hegemony. And that's Welton Gaddy. Just a few days ago, on November the 6th, the majority of the American people said, we want to be different. We want to respect the dignity of every human being. And that is what Welton Gaddy has given his life to do, is to help all of us respect the dignity of every human being. It has meant the world to me as a female person in a world that was for so long and still to some degree remains a straight white male world. Quite often when I was going to one of those meetings of the House of Bishops in the Episcopal Church, when Barbara Harris and I were there by ourselves, Welton would say to me, you can do this. You can do this. So I kept saying when I was asked to do this tonight, to present this award to Welton, how did he, a man who was born in Paris, Tennessee, I won't tell you how old he is. I'm older than he is, but not by a lot. He grew up in the same world that I did, a world that was racist, it was sexist, it was homophobic, it was anti-Semitic, it was anti-papist. And when we thought about persons who might have been Muslim or Hindu or Jain or Sikh or Buddhist or Mormon, those brothers and sisters of ours were people that maybe we read about in some exotic book. They were not part of the world that we knew. So how was it that this man came to be a voice for all humankind? What happened for him? Well, he's told you a little bit about that tonight. He grew up in a fundamentalist household, as I did. And I'm sure that he heard from the pulpit in many places Jesus saying in the 14th chapter of the Gospel of John, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. But somehow, those parents of his who were loving, his Sunday school teachers, his pastors, and certainly the brilliant and inquisitive woman to whom he's married, helped him to hear another part of Scripture. These 11 words, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That mandate is at the center of most of the world's great religions. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And somehow, this young man from Paris, Tennessee, took that to heart. So then I said to myself, how did he live that out? How did that become a really living thing for him? So he went off to seminary. He became an ordained minister in the Southern Baptist tradition. He became an educator himself. He was a university professor. He was a pastor to churches in Kentucky, Georgia, and Texas. He has authored 29 books. I had to count that number up. He has contributed countless articles to many publications. And when the United States had that horrible incident on 9/11, Welton Gaddy was one of the people who was sought throughout this country. But before that, in 1992, he mentioned that he was called as pastor of Northminster Baptist Church in Monroe, Louisiana. Now I have to tell you, that is a unique church. I've been down there and I have seen that. When they called Welton, they got him and Judy to come over down there to Monroe, and they said two basic things to him. They wanted somebody who was going to be their pastor and who was going to be in their pulpit where everyone was accepted and no one was despised. And they also wanted somebody who was going to recognize the ministry of the laity as the peer to the ministry of the ordained. And so together, this incredible group of people, when the Interfaith Alliance in 1997 wanted to call Welton to be our president, they were willing to work out an agreement so that he could be in Monroe on most Sundays, and he could be in Washington and throughout the country on the other days of the week. Now, I can tell you that would never happen in the Episcopal Church. So there's great credit to Northminster Baptist Church and to Welton Gaddy. I've tried to suggest that to a few Episcopal congregations, but it doesn't fly. He continued to live out this business of loving one's neighbor as oneself, to becoming, as I said, the president of the Interfaith Alliance. What an awesome thing, and what he has done with that. He has become a counselor to 3 presidents that I know of: Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama. In fact, President Obama put Welton on a council where they were trying to work out how in the world that religious organizations could do the work they needed to do without infringing on the First Amendment. He's a member of the World Economic Forum that meets in Davos, Switzerland, and he's a participant in the U.S. Islamic World Forum that meets yearly in Qatar. And as you know, and I do, in 2006, Welton began a radio program where he speaks throughout the nation on state of belief, on church-state, political, religious issues. A thoughtful voice to help those in our country, a country that is often divided by all of those issues. And of course, he does all of this because of the support of Judy and John Paul and Helen and James Welton and Amanda and his 5 grandchildren. All of them are so, so important in his life. So it's understandable that Walter Cronkite, the most trusted man in America, the man that I listened to during the civil rights issues, the man I listened to during Vietnam, and so many other times, that Walter Cronkite, who could have lent his support to so many organizations, chose Welton and the Interfaith Alliance. It was not an accident. So tonight, on November the 11th, in the year 2012, I'm honored that the board asked me to present the Walter Cronkite Faith and Freedom Award to a remarkable man who lives that religious mandate. In Nigeria, there is a proverb that says, one going to take a pointed stick to pinch a baby bird should first try it on himself and feel how it hurts. That's do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so, Welton, will you come up here? My friend, my colleague, my pastor, and my hero. He went through that smoke screen and he worked diligently to help bring an end to the hegemony of straight, white, and this is my addition, Christian men, and to help us make this world going forward for my children, my grandchildren, a world where all are accepted and none are despised. Please rise for Welton Gaddy.
Let me take my glasses off.